now to the town of Monson. The tornado tore through that town, destroying homes there, businesses, dropping trees, and doing so much more damage. It also damaged the First Congregational Church, toppling the steeple. But that didn't stop parishioners at all from rallying together following the disaster. Western Mass News reporter Matt Tilly continues our team coverage live in Monson this afternoon with more. Matt?
Yeah, Dave, people will gather here together this evening for a ceremony in remembrance of the tornado that ripped through this very path 10 years ago today. I spoke with the former congregation leader to discuss how his life forever changed that day 1 decade ago.
What do we do with difficult challenges? You know, when something like a tornado comes through and turns life upside down.
Rev Dr Moroney remembers the moment that felt like a lifetime when the tornado tore through his community, toppling the steeple at the First Congregational Church.
It probably was all of about, a minute, but it certainly felt like an hour.
He recalls being with his wife at his parsonage when disaster struck, others scrambling for safety with him.
We did have people that ran into our basement to hide.
It's a moment that he says changed him as a person and transformed what he calls his pastoral authority, his ability to act as pastor in times of need.
The tornado called upon me to step up in a way that probably was not in my comfort zone. But it was what needed to happen, and that's what we did.
And he will never forget how the community wasted no time helping one another.
People were showing up with all kinds of stuff. Somebody showed up at the church with a box of hamburgers during the prayer service. They were cooking outside.
And how his congregation rallied behind the community, housing food, clothes, and more.
20,000 meals, I think we had estimated, went through our kitchen in a month.
Moroney still struggles with the effects of that fateful day, June 1st, 2011.
I know that for me, the trauma never goes away. I know that the tornado's not coming to get me, but still my stomach goes in a knot when I hear wind.
And he tells Western Mass News it is important to remember, for some, the feeling will never subside.
The people who went through it, who were right there and dealt with it, are still dealing with the effects of it 10 years later. It doesn't just go away.
Now, Rev Dr Moroney says he also recalls services resuming as soon as the next day after the tornado. He tells me he has not been back to Monson since he left 4 years ago to join the Union Congregational Church in Peterborough, New Hampshire. But he mentions he does often pray for the Monson families and residents who are still dealing with the fallout today. Coming up later at 6, I talk with one woman who distinctly remembers that day 10 years ago just down the street when her house was destroyed. Reporting live in Monson, Matt Tilly, Western Mass News.